Today we finally got some forest on the Camino, although there are a bit of flies here in it. So yesterday I had a pretty good day. Clocked out 33 kilometers, so not bad. Ended up stopping in Belorado. So I was thinking yesterday afternoon in the heat, there was this nice sequence of towns that were like there was like 6 towns over the course of 20 kilometers. So you just had to go a few kilometers between towns. So I kind of like hopped the afternoon, you know, make a couple kilometers, stop for a beer, make a couple kilometers, stop and have a little jamon and queso, and then stop, going. And then I was thinking, gosh, I haven't been swimming in a long time because unfortunately you couldn't swim in the reservoir a couple days ago at La Grajera. Very disappointing. There was a lake on the way and you couldn't swim in it. So I'm thinking it would be great, and probably in Burgos, which is the next big town, I can find a hotel that has a pool. That'll be fabulous. So, and then last night I'm coming into Belorado at it was about 8 o'clock. I had planned to go past there and camp somewhere, but the very first albergue had La Piscina on the sign, swimming pool. Wow, that was, so I stopped. I did my first night in an albergue, which was an interesting experience. But the pool was very nice. I mean, it was only about neck deep, so you couldn't like really jump in or anything, but you could float, and it was cold, and it was just beautiful after a long day of hiking. And then I had a nice pizza there with a Spanish couple. We talked about our various Camino-y things, as one does on the Camino, where you're from, and I always try to give a different story. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Norway. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Tennessee. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from California. And then tell them about a different part of my life that might be interesting. Or I'm from Georgia, not the Georgia that's in Europe, but the Georgia that's in the U.S. That's a one I always like to throw at Slavic people. But I haven't encountered any Slavic people along the way here. And we've got some more people coming along here that are hiking. I am breaking because it is midday and it is hot and I'm enjoying the forest. Buen camino. And so I enjoyed the pool, and then I had to sleep in a room with other people who snored, which was not as terrible as I thought it was going to be. But I still woke up in the middle of the night. Buen camino. Buen camino. And the Italian guy who takes pictures. And then woke up in the middle of the night, as one often does when one goes to sleep at 9 o'clock. And then I tried to go back to sleep, but eventually at 5 I got up and I took a shower to start the day off. That was strange. Got the shower and brushed my teeth in a sink, as opposed to just dumping water on the toothbrush in a field somewhere. And then headed out for the day. In Belorado, it was still Saturday night though, and the clubs were open 6 a.m. as I passed by. It was a do, and there was kids outside drinking, and they were Buen Camino, very drunk, and very excited about the size of my pack. So my pack here has all of my camping gear in it, and a bocadillo for lunch when I feel like eating. Right now I'm just having some cookies. And so, buen camino. When I started out this morning, and I didn't know how far I was going to make it, but so far I've gone about 15 kilometers, which is not bad by midday. There was a sequence of towns early in the morning though, and I got Bellarado. I didn't want to go to the you know, because I didn't even think about them possibly having coffee in there. Which of course Ivana's like, why didn't you go in there and get coffee? Because I didn't find coffee until like 9 o'clock. The first town that I got to, Dos Santos, did not seem to have anywhere that sold coffee. And then the second town, Villambistia, did not have anywhere that was open before 10. 10 was the earliest that they had coffee. But then in Espinosa del Camino, they had a place that had been open since 6. And so I got there. So Bellarado is one of those places that a lot of people stop at night. So there's a whole herd of people that I'm moving with today. And so when I got to the La Taberna, I was early in the herd. So I got a chair and I got my coffee and my croissant, and I sat and read some Hemingway and relaxed for a bit, and that was nice. And then headed on down the road, and then crossed over the Oca River, and then Villafranca was a nice little town where I got the cookies and the sandwich to take with me up here into the hills, because 12 kilometers to the next monastery. I'm not even sure if it looks like there's buildings around the monastery from Google Maps, but nothing that maybe serves food. So Argus is the next city after that, which is I think another 5 or 6 kilometers. So I'm glad I have the Bocadillo. But I've met some nice people along the Camino today. Buen Camino. I walked for a little while with a Swedish and English pair of guys. So we talked about the various hiking places in Scandinavia and the places I'd been to in Ireland, and then the things that they'd done, and so we all have kind of a U.S. hike on our bucket list. Mine is the AT, the Appalachian Trail, someday. But that one takes like 6 months. It's not quite as short as the Camino. And then Matti, the Swedish guy, wants to do the Pacific Coast Trail. Buen Camino. And then there's a couple Koreans right there. It's people from all over the world. And then of course I've seen Americans today and more English. And then I talked to a guy from South Africa for a little while, who flew all the way up here to another hot country to hike around, which is interesting that there's people just from all over the world. But you gotta have a fair amount of vacation time to set aside for this. So some of the Spanish people that I've talked to said they just do like a week at a time. You know, they plan it out like 4 or 5 years. They're gonna get it done over. They do it in segments, which kind of makes sense. And I am getting passed by most of the herd now. It seems there's just a lot of people. Buen Camino. These guys are from somewhere Spanish speaking, it seems. Buen Camino. Ooh, that guy's got a limp. Yeah, the Swedish guy I was talking to said that he had started off with a couple Americans, and then one of them had fallen and broken her elbow and had to go back to Seattle, which is kind of terrible. But I really discovered my own personal limits for hiking on this particular experience, and the limits are all in the feet. Everything else seems to be able to keep up, but the feet are just a mess of blisters. Just a mess. Well, I'm going to finish my last delicious cookie here and then get back on the road for the day. Hope you enjoyed the vlog from Camino Land.